everybody! So today we are talking about Walt Disney's fifth animated masterpiece, Bambi. And Bambi was released in 1942. Bambi is based on a novel by Felix Salten. It was originally pitched as a live action film, but Disney decided, of course, to make it an animated film. And they started working on it in 1937, right after Snow White, but it was an incredibly laborious film to make. The layers of the backgrounds was something that had never been done before, and if you look at it in comparison to Snow White, it's pretty remarkable, the difference. The lushness of the forest scenes, the realism of the leaves, and the layers to each of the backgrounds. So you've got you've got the leaves kind of in the foreground, and then you've got another layer of maybe trees, and then you've got another layer of watercolor type, impressionistic almost looking forest background that it sort of blurs into the forest. It's really quite remarkable, and that's why it took them so long, and they were really intent upon making it look as realistic and as lush as they possibly could. Plus, they were very careful about making the animals look as good as they possibly could. They brought in live deer, they brought in they brought in bunnies, they brought in other animals they could study and look at and everything like that. And so it ended up becoming their fifth animated film to be released, even though it was started way back in 37. A lot of reasons to love Bambi. One of the things I love about it is the fact that it tells a compelling story without having a compelling story. It's just about the life of this deer. It shows him being born, it shows him having fun and playing and growing up, and I don't think there's anything wrong with movies like that. I like movies like that. The way that the film uses music as basically the sound effects, the way that the score actually sounds like rain, the way that the score sounds like fire at certain points. It's something that really sets this film apart from any other Disney film, and it just adds to that. It just adds to that sense of lushness and deepness. Also, a little bit of every emotion within this film. You definitely get, of course, the heartbreak, you get the laughter, you get the romance, you get all those different things. So characters are also very sweet. I love Flower, I love Thumper, I like the owl, I like the bond between Bambi and his mother. I like all of the characters. So all of those things are so well done, so beautiful, make it a wonderful watch. I also, of course, have the traumatic scene involving the death of Bambi's mother. Spoiler alert. I think everybody. This is a really interesting thing. Not only is it somewhat traumatizing and horrible to see this happen, but if you think about it in context of the time that this film was made, that you have lots of children who are dealing with grief and loss, and it just makes sense that Disney would put out a film where a character like that dies in a form of, and is basically shot down. You think about almost every child, almost every person had a loved one, whether it was a brother, cousin, father, whoever it might be, that would have been killed in the war. And that's why Bambi became a really important film for that time period, and something that kids could really use as a way to learn about grief and learn about death and cope with it in their own way. And the thing I have a problem with the way it handled death is the fact that, like, she's basically forgotten. The mom and Bambi have this really close relationship. She's killed. You never hear about her again. You never hear, it's not like there's a moment where Bambi says, I've got to, I've got to live this great life in memory of my mother, or I've got to do this in memory of my mother, or something. Literally the next scene is him getting Twitter pated and falling in love and kind of finding a new replacement for his mother. So that's sort of weird. I don't really like that. There's two other issues that I have with this film. One is the fact that the father figure is really strange, is the way that he's kind of, I guess he's supposed to be the king, and so he's just sort of aloof. It's like they're sort of afraid of him. You get the idea that Bambi's mother is sort of afraid of him. There's this sense of, I don't know, just a weird definition of masculinity in this film, and I don't quite understand. It was just a different era. It's not something that I can relate to as far as paternity and my own father and fatherhood. It's very strange. And the fact that Bambi kind of becomes his father in the end, you know, sort of this looming stoic figure is strange. The other thing that I don't really like, it starts the beginning of the instant love trope with Disney, and you get it in the Twitter patient scene. The owl is telling them all about the how stupid people are when they're in love, which could be funny, and there are some funny parts about it. But I don't like the way that all of the female characters are all sort of these hypnotists, that, you know, they've got these men that are these male characters that are, I'm not going to fall in love, I'm not going to be stupid like that, and then you've got the women who are like, and that just annoys me. I feel like it just sort of turns these female characters, and you see this all throughout Disney, going into even like something like Hunchback of Notre Dame, like going way into it, this idea that like the man is all like stoic or whatever, and the woman's like, and then all of a sudden it's like they literally are hypnotized by this beautiful woman. That kind of annoys me. I don't like it. I like something, I would prefer something more like Entangled, where they actually have some conversations and you see why they are in love and why he's interested in her, instead of just, look how pretty I am, I'm gonna bewitch you with my stare, and then all of a sudden, overall, it's still a gorgeous film. It's a masterpiece for a reason. A film that touches on a lot of different emotions. It's funny, it's sad, it's silly at times, it's everything that you could want. There's just stunning imagery, like in the fire sequence when you've got the purples and the oranges and the yellows, and just all of that is so exciting, intense, and beautiful, and the way that it uses its music as sort of the sound effects, and it just tells this really simple story about the life of this character, which I really appreciate. So all of those things all together, what it meant to the people at the time, the way it influenced Disney animation, and makes it a classic, and definitely something you should watch and make part of your library. So I give Bambi a B+, just because of those few little issues that I have, but I think it's a really great film. I really do love it. So let me know what you think of Bambi. Put in the comment section below, and thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll talk to you later.